like you said, the prize of that is the automatic qualifying. If the model stays the same, was there any concern in joining the Big East that they could lose that automatic qualifying
Yeah.
when things reformat a little bit?
No concern on my part because I actually didn't say automatic qualifying status. I said this plateau that's represented today is an AQ BCS. If it's not an AQ BCS and it's another label, all I know is that divide in college athletics today is going to stay a divide because who's really creating the next evolution? This group. And we're now a part of that group. And plus the resource difference. I mean, I worried about sustaining athletics financially at the level we were at. With that worry is still going to be a challenge, but less of a worry, if you know what I mean, because of this plateau. So my prediction of whatever the evolution will be for the next thing, if it's not an AQ status as we would call it today, it'll be something that this group will maintain that level. And the great news is we're one of those members now.
And you have full confidence that they will stay above that plateau, like you said.
Absolutely. If you look even today's formula, the AQ formula today, the Big East is not the 6th ranked in the new Big East. It's the 5th ranked.
You mentioned wanting to reduce the financial strain put on the rest of the university. Have you started to earmark how much of the increased revenue will go toward reducing an operating debt versus new things that you can take on in terms of facilities or marketing or that kind of thing?
Right. That's exactly the discussion that will take place at the highest level. You know, the president, of course, and then if he wants to take it to the trustees. But that's the conversation to have. You know, the university has been committed to Division I athletics here, I'm proud to say. And you know, this year our operating shortfall, it's not a deficit because a deficit means you got to pay it back. You know, they pay that. So they pay the shortfall, meaning our operations don't cover all of our operating expenses, is about $5 million. Okay. We're projecting to get much more than that the first year we're in the Big East. So the question is to the university, what do you want to do with that money? If they want to say, yeah, you pay for your bills, meaning that $5 million goes towards your bills that we don't have to pay for you, great. I'm happy. It's going to be probably more than $5 million a year incrementally. That's my projection, not mine. We had 6 TV consultants, and so we knew coming in that it's a significant financial windfall for us as a university. So if they say, yes, Steve, we don't want to pay your bills anymore, you pay them, great, we will. If they say, well, you know, we'd really like you to add a sport or two, add more opportunities for our students to compete at the highest level, great. You tell me. Say, yeah, we'll still contribute this, you know, X amount, great. But the neat part now is we have options. Before, we were worried about sustaining ourselves because we always wanted to compete at the highest level. SMU should always strive for that, strive for excellence in everything we do. But boy, financially, if we didn't make that leap from this tier to that tier that I described earlier, we've had serious discussions among other members of schools down here like us. How are we going to sustain this? Well, the good news is we just gave ourselves an answer, joining the Big East.
In the last dozen years or so, SMU's built Ford Stadium, built the Crum Center, you've got a facelift for Moody planned. What else is on your wish list? Do you have a track? Do you have, I don't know, an natatorium, soccer? What's next?
Yeah, you know, well, we have a master plan for athletic facilities that's not complete. Indoor practice facility has been mentioned. I think that'd be a huge asset to continue our growth. You know, I think more support for our student athletes, academic support and things like that are very important. We're going to have to raise our level of competitiveness, and you know, in some sports that's a challenge for some young people to continue to graduate at a high rate, and we don't ever want to compromise that. We're one of the highest graduation rates in America, and I don't ever want that to go down. So we just want to get better athletically, and so we need to provide, you know, top 25 standard in academic support too. So that's going to require some resources as well. So we'll sit down, and one thing is, even though we're going to get a lot more money, we'll run out of it before we meet all of our needs. Is that's safe to say? But number one wish list when I got here was this day, was get us back to where we were. I had many of an alum and obviously trustees and presidents say it's time. President Turner described his reign, actually going back to the death penalty days where the pendulum was way skewed more towards athletics than the mission on this campus, meaning academics. To correct it, the previous leaders of this university had us swing that pendulum this way to send the right message. President Turner said he's been working hard. He was working as president, I think, 10 years before I got here, and he said, Steve, I think we're getting close to that balance now, because we want both. We want excellence in academics and athletics, and so we're here now, but we aren't winning. So now we want to win. And so this is an example of winning because now we're at the highest level. The field of competition for me as an administrator is now level again. It wasn't fair for us to play the BCS schools with their, what? University of Texas has $100 million more in revenue a year than we do. $100 million a year more. So, or am I going to get better coaches than them? Maybe, but I won't be able to keep them long because they'll pay them a lot more than what I'm paying them because they can, if you know what I mean. And I'm not knocking them or knocking us. I'm just saying that's a fact of life. And now we can be more on a level playing field. We're not going to get $100,000 more a year by joining the Big East, but we can work our way towards narrowing that gap. And so, to me, this is the biggest thing on the university's wish list for athletics, is getting relevant at the highest level, meeting that standard of excellence. So everything else is just supporting that, is the way I look at it. So my wish list now, I check the big one off the top, and it's going to help us now go check the rest of them off.